Hello, everyone. This is Chala Dinkoy, CEO and founder of the Repositioning Expert, coming to you with another edition of my podcast, the Naked Marketing Podcast, where we talk about our honest marketing mistakes. I have here all the way from Australia. It is 5 a.m. in the morning, you guys. She is up. She looks great. And she's with us, Jodi Woelkerling. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on, Chala.
So tell us who you help and what you do, Jodi.
So I specialize in resilience. Now that is primarily working business to business rather than business to consumer. And it's around helping people build their individual resilience, helping leaders with their resilience, but also leading their team in a way that helps their team with resilience, and then taking it up to a business cultural level, and how do you build a culture that is resilient to the stresses that happen.
So it's very timely. It's very timely. You must be very busy. What's happening in the world of, resilience with your business because of COVID?
It's interesting. In some ways, it is definitely, like, your obvious reaction is, yes, this is a very challenging period, and this is a period where resilience is really needed. Absolutely 100%. But the other side of it is also a period where businesses have almost gone in a survival mode in terms of spending. And I'm guessing you found this in marketing as well. I'd love you to confirm, actually. It's almost as if they're directing their spending to the things that are obvious in terms of keeping the doors open and keeping them operating, because some businesses are excelling during this period. There's more of them that are really quite struggling and concerned. So then they direct their spending accordingly, which it's funny, while I understand it, it actually also means that a lot of those really important things, like what you do and like what I do, don't get attended to, and what doesn't get sort of focused on often becomes a bigger problem. So yeah.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I'm in Canada, so I don't know if your clientele is mostly in Australia, but I found, and my 100% of my clientele is not in Canada, it's in the US. So what I found is, and maybe it is a cultural thing, because I have no idea what the rest of the world is behaving like, but most of the businesses that I talk to, marketing is on fire. So there's certain, because they realize it's do or die now, even more so if people are doing well, they want to shift to online. If they've lost business, they want to learn new funnels. I mean, that's what I had to do when I had to be resilient. I was in the fetal position like a year ago. I didn't know how I was going to feed I'm a single mom. So I had to learn, because I used to speak at conferences. I used to travel, and they shut the borders in March. So that was pretty much gone, Jodi. So I had to figure out, how do I create a multiple six-figure, close to, $500,000 by myself, again, sitting in my office. And it's coming back, because I found that marketing is the biggest pain point for a lot of people. Now, having said that, I don't know, do you mostly work in Australia or everywhere?
Primarily, historically, yes, it's been Australia. I'm looking to branch out a lot more in terms of internationally, hence why I'm talking to people.
Yes, you're going to have to get up early again. That's true. Yeah. So, I mean, if that's the case, for sure, I think there's a lot of momentum, especially in the United States. And there's something called the Great Resignation. I don't know if you're facing that in Australia. Is that the case?
I think we're in the earlier stages of it. I think it's very much happening more in America at the moment, but I'm seeing the pattern developing here, definitely.
Isn't it crazy? Well, so that's great to have a test market where you could see what all the things that are and that's when they're going to come back to the resilience, I'm telling you, because a lot of coaches that I spoke to in the US are already seeing the buzz, and we're repositioning a lot of my clients into being a solution for the Great Resignation. And so we are changing up messaging, we're changing up marketing to be a solution for that. So let's talk a little bit about marketing. Tell us about your marketing. How are you getting clients during the pandemic? What is happening right now?
So basically what I'm doing, I use LinkedIn a fair bit, and that's sort of been quite engaging and building audience through LinkedIn. Funnel that through to my own database of people who are my network, and send out sort of regular information through to them, and basically have spots there where people can reach out to me, have a complimentary chat, and then pretty much they decide from there where they want to go ahead. So a lot of it is have those lines of communication available, obvious and open, and then people can make the decision whether they want to go ahead with working with me or not.
And so is there anything that you would term less passive, like having the information there, versus more, active outreach right now?
So active reach, I use Sales Navigator in LinkedIn and reach out to people through.
Got it.
That's a little bit limited because you're sort of limited to reaching out to around 25 people or so a day before it objects. And doing things like I've been doing a lot of podcasts lately to get my name out there, and I've got a book, so that's a good way of kind of introducing yourself to people, because it's almost like they get a snapshot of where I'm coming from before they work with me. So, yeah.
So congratulations. Tell us about your book.
Thank you. It is designed for senior executives. So that's like your CEOs and your CTOs, CFOs, that sort of level leadership. And it is around what are some of the most common cultural issues and cultural mistakes that I see in businesses. And it's designed as almost like a real self-realization book, where they can look at the explanations, look at the case studies and go, we've got that problem, or no, that one doesn't apply to us, or that sort of stuff. So I always run from the philosophy that awareness is half the battle. So it's an awareness piece.
That's awesome. So let's get to the naked marketing part where you're going to get honest. So tell us about your big marketing mistake that you made in your business.
It's interesting. Fairly early on, because I am definitely not a marketing expert. I'm very much somebody who doesn't have a marketing background and had to, in my business, learn pretty much from scratch. So fairly early on, because I wasn't confident in my own ability, I went with what other people said, with not that basis of knowledge to really discern. And as a result of that, I engaged a marketing system and marketing help that really, I just found it was, in hindsight, a huge waste of time, quite a large waste of money, and really it was a waste of time in terms of the amount of time that it spent to do what they said that you had to do, but also time in terms of that was time, months that could have been spent doing something that was a lot better. So I guess it was a case of picking the wrong experts, following their advice without really having that knowledge base to discern, and paying the price, money and time wise because of it.
So was it an online funnel that they built for you, or are you at liberty to say?
I don't want to say names and
no, I'm not asking for names. I'm just curious whether it was just like strategy coaching, or more like they sold you a product.
No, it was more strategy coaching. So a system that they basically said, follow this, and then they gave one-on-one coaching around doing it. So it was the actual implementation of it. My side was responsible for, but in hindsight, it was the wrong advice. So.
Oh, okay. And was it the wrong advice because it didn't fit your market, or because it didn't fit your personality, or what was the biggest issue?
Really interesting question. Definitely didn't fit my personality. Definitely. Which I think could have been that's a stopping point, and I can explain why I think that's a stopping point in itself. In terms of whether it was right for my market, it was designed for coaches and consultants. So in theory, it should have been right for the market that I'm in. What was the third option that you said?
I said, was it the market? Was it that it wasn't right for you? Or no, that was it. That was it. Because you said it wasn't a product. So like, it wasn't like a HubSpot or something where you like turn on a funnel and it's a software, or what's the Russell Brunson one, the click funnel.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Not that.
But it's like literally they said, do X, Y, Z, and you did them, and or you didn't do them because it wasn't right for you and it didn't work.
Oh, I think there was a third one that you basically said was the system flawed. And I would personally argue the system was flawed, because I know other people who went through the same system and pretty much had the same.
Wow, it's so amazing. Yeah. No, I love talking about mistakes, because you just literally saved someone, like saved someone's sanity, saved someone money, saved someone time, the people that are watching. But I experienced the same thing from coaching programs and I'm a marketing coach. So I've had to sign up. And during COVID, I actually signed up for a program where it was a very, very high end, but not high touch, it was a high end program. And the people and other people in the program, some were getting nothing and others were making like millions. And for whatever reason, I was like in the middle, but it taught me, one, it made some money and gave me some hope during this hopeless time, right? Talk about resilience. But it taught me certain things. So I've always found that no matter what the program is, I take something away from it. If the only thing I take away is what not to do, that's still good, because I'm a coach too, right? So I commiserate with you. Now, let's talk about the learning though. You could literally say that about anything. Like, I just had my kitchen remodeled. I don't know anything about construction. I don't know anything. Just like you didn't know anything about marketing. What would have made a difference? Like, what do you recommend? What is your parting advice to people to avoid this problem?
I would say give yourself more credit than you thought. As I said, I had this thought in my mind, I know nothing about marketing. Let's find sort of experts who can help. So I would say don't go with blind trust. Educate yourself as much as possible and listen to your gut. I'm a big believer of listen to your gut. The other way people say it is your intuition. I prefer gut, because it sounds less kind of woohoo and out there. You take in a lot of information and know a lot more than you realize, and a lot of the time your gut will tell you whether something is the right thing to do or not. And I've found in my business in general, as I go along, listening to my gut is generally the right way to go. So in looking at that program, because I didn't come from a place of my own confidence, I didn't trust my gut. So that's been the first thing I say. You give yourself credit that you know more than what you do. And really look for that authentic fit. So since then, I've actually recently just finished another program, which was just phenomenal. And a lot of the way I selected that was, does this feel right? Do these people have a very similar philosophy to where I come from? So I would say that more than anything, trust your gut and find experts that align with that gut feel as much as possible, and how you authentically do your business as much as possible. And also educate yourself as much as possible. So as you get bigger, obviously you can't do everything yourself, but if you know the basics yourself rather than the blind trust, you've got a lot more of a knowledge base to be able to make decisions from.
That's wonderful. Now, if one thing I could add is, and you may not be that kind of person, but I am, is talk to their other clients. Like, do the homework. I know it's heavy lifting, but like actually reach out. And now it's so easy to jump on a 2-minute, 5-minute Zoom and just check Did you get the ROI? Do you have a similar business to mine? You know, like I was interviewing a new bookkeeper and her only reference was her coach, or her business coach who, you know, like they had some sort of barter. So like if I hadn't gotten on the call and hadn't actually had the conversation, I would never have discovered it. And so like I was too scared to give her all my passwords for all my banking. So I ended up hiring someone else and it's been wonderful. So like do the work to check on their whether they were able to help someone who was exactly like you.
It's a really good point. And I guess in the case of the recent program I've just finished, it was almost a given because they were recommended by two people.
Ah, well, there you
So
go.
before I even spoke to the marketing organization. So that's probably why I didn't mention it. But yeah,
That's
totally.
why. That's good. So how do we reach you, Jodi?
Probably the best way is on my website. So it's just jodiwoelkerling.com. So I'm assuming in the show notes you'll see the spelling of my name. I'm also very active on LinkedIn, so they can look for me on LinkedIn as well. But yeah, in terms of the full range of what I do and what I offer, the website is a really good place to start.
So, but folks, don't call her for another 4 hours. Normally she'll be not in the office, right? But yeah, exactly. I love it. Thanks for being here and especially, you know, getting up for us so early.
No problems. Thank you so much for having me on.